Welcome to Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. My name is Mompoloki Lerumo Mogobe. Our objective is to enthuse, inspire, energize, and empower entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs of all stripes here in BW and beyond. We do so by inviting these entrepreneurs into our makeshift studio. Sometimes we call them to the restaurant, sometimes we go to our studio, and we ask them to share their experiential knowledge, their experiences and their expertise, and we ask them as many questions as we can, aimed at empowering you also as a viewer. Hello and welcome once again. It's always a privilege and honor, and I'm always excited. You can see the smile and beaming ear to ear. It's always great to welcome you. Every time we have an opportunity to talk about entrepreneurship and to learn about business, I'm excited because it enriches and expands our knowledge base. And I'm asking you, before we get into our conversation, please just hit that subscribe button. We're going to talk about the business of paving. We're talking with a paving specialist himself, Mr. Koos, but he's going to introduce himself in greater length. And thank you for taking the time out to watch the podcast. Once again, don't forget to subscribe. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pave.
Yes.
It's a pleasure to be here with you.
It's an honor.
Thank you, sir.
Honor.
Thank
the
you.
starting point is just for you to share a brief introduction, a little bit about your background, even the academic side of things.
Yeah. Well, to start off, where we are sitting now, I was brought up here. My grandfather came to Botswana in 1947.
Wow.
Yeah.
After
So
the
my
war.
family is in the De Wet family. We've been here now in the fourth generation. And as a young boy of 3-4 years old, I was playing on the Broaders farm. And the area where we are sitting now, we were playing with the young boys, with bicycling and shooting with our kitties. So that's where I actually come from.
Wow.
Went to school in South Africa. And I did my mechanical engineering degree in Pretoria.
The University of Pretoria.
Pretoria Technikon, the Botswana University of Technology. But I always had inside myself, I think, the whole thing about entrepreneurial. So on my final years of study, I jumped out after I completed that, and I started a business in the Mpumalanga area. And it's a company called A1 Fisheries. Started from all fresh, me with 3 people, and basically the concept of choppies, but more or less that for the rural areas. And the company worked very hard for that.
Selling
I had fish and chicken and mogodo lemala, anything the people need to eat.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was an exciting part of my life, 27 years. In the end, I had 13 branches, 2 factories, a head office, 400 employees, 400 people. It's a great success story.
Back in Mpumalanga.
In Mpumalanga, based in a place called Bushbuck Ridge, head office in Bushbuck Ridge. And the company was awarded the Large Company of Enterprise of the Year in 2009.
Wow.
Outbeating big companies. And I was also fortunate to be awarded the Business Personality of the Year for Mpumalanga in 2008. Those were nice things, and also,
Does
there
that
I learned a lot of
mean you
skills.
resettled from Botswana to South Africa for some time?
Yeah, well, I did my studies in South Africa, and I relocated to South Africa.
Yeah.
And in 2012, I decided to sell off everything. So lock, stock, and barrel. I sold the whole company, and I decided, listen, I want to come back home. And I want to use all these experience that I've gathered and entrepreneurial things and bring it back to Botswana. So
Retail business can be hectic. Were you tired of the business? What caused you to close down everything?
No, I didn't close down. I sold. I sold out to
what caused you to close?
I've had enough. I wanted to come back home because I love Botswana. I grew up here. My family is here.
Okay.
So I decided to come back to Botswana.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because even retail, is there much engineering in retail?
Not really.
It's different from what
Not
you
really.
studied at school.
Yeah, well, I had refrigeration and all that, but it was basically doing business. So the engineering prepared you to think clearly, to think logically, and so on. But I had to learn a few hard lessons.
Yes.
Yeah, coming from engineering to retail, it's you had to learn to adapt.
Okay.
But I did it. Yeah.
Okay. Any memorable lessons in that adaptation? Anything you want to share?
Well, it boils back to if you want to do business and you want to be an entrepreneur, it's not as easy as it looks. It takes really hard work. I had to work 15, 16 hours a day. And my family, there were some, I had to spend time. You've got to spend time in your business. So I worked very, very hard on that. But that prepared me for myself.
Yes.
And those skills, I was brought it into my business, and thank God it was successful.
Yes. Let's talk about Mega Pave.
Yeah.
What was the motivation behind it?
Well, when I sold my company in South Africa, I thought, I would like to get back into some sort of a business. So I crossed paths with the guy who started Mega Pave, a very nice guy by the name of Hugo Nodia. Mm-hmm. And I met with him, and he was relocating to South Africa. His children went to school there. And so I bought the business in 2021.
Oh, just 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
But you had been running it since 2012.
No, not really. No, to me it's also new.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's also new.
Okay, so you said you closed your business in 2012, right? In South
Yes.
Africa.
Yeah.
So what happened during that 10-year span?
Well, it's not really a 10-year span, but what happens is with a big ship like that, 400 people and 13 branches, it's not a matter of switching the switches off and give the key to the new guy.
Yeah.
Right. So there was a transitional period of 3 years, whereby I was still involved with them and giving over the reins. Mm-hmm. So that took 3 years out of my life.
Okay.
And I spent a year or two in my farm in the Tully Block, our family farm. And then COVID came up. So that's where it picked up. And unfortunately also had to spend a lot of time with my wife, who was diagnosed with cancer.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, she lost her life in 2019.
Oh,
and that was part of my decision to sell, because I had to spend time with her.
Yeah.
And after I lost her, I thought, okay, maybe it's time to pick up and get going again.
And would you say that there's a special meaning in the word Mega Pave, in terms of the decision to buy that particular company?
Yeah. Mr. Mogobe, mega is such a powerful word, and immediately it attracted me, because I always say, listen, you've got to do it 100% or just leave it. So mega attracted me.
Because it means huge.
It means huge, yeah. And even going around Gaborone, there are other businesses also with mega. So it's a word that's got a good feeling in this area. Yeah.
And was there any initial? I think the best way to call it is called teething problems.
Yeah.
When you started this business.
Well, for sure, to become a dedicated and a specialist in paving and mixing cements is not that easy. But fortunately, I've got beautiful people. And remember, I bought the company with the personnel. And we've got very nice specialists who knows much more than I do about cement mixes. To me, the management part, I don't have to be an expert in everything. I've got to manage people and bring the best out of them. So I've got them. And they are my right hands, helping me through that. So I've got very nice people who has been with the company for many years and knows everything about the cement business.
Okay. So what would you say are your core values in business?
Well, with the lessons that I've learned over the years, the first thing is by myself, I can't, without my people, I'm nothing. I need the people. So I am a people's motivator. I manage people, and I bring out the best in people. Teamwork, building people up, bringing their spirit up, and make them feel valuable to the company. If you have that, you can get very, very far. There are also core values in our company. The company was built on two principles. The one is the quality. We always say in Botswana there are two factors in Botswana to make a success. The one is quality, and the other one is service. If you can combine those two, then you've got a very good recipe, and we focus on that. We're not the biggest in Botswana, but we're definitely the best regarding quality, and definitely the best regarding service. Just to bring you something else regarding service, when I received that award in Mpumalanga, there was an independent evaluation done by all the participants by an external company. And the evening of when they announced this gala evening, the guy said that this company said that never in their whole history they investigated the company and they got 100% success rate. Everyone they spoke to was speaking positively about my company.
This is how you won that award.
That's how I won that award. So to motivate my people, my customers come first and serve them with quality.
I'm sure they were very sad to see you winding it down in the sense of selling it.
Yeah.
The customers and also the people who gave you that award, they were a bit maybe sad to see
Not really. Down. Remember, it's handing over.
Yeah.
Younger people taking over
okay.
who could take the company further.
Okay.
And it is still going on today. So I'm very happy
and
about
how
that.
is it doing?
It's also doing very well. Very well, yeah.
Does it have a presence in Botswana?
Not in Botswana.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Now, in terms of those core values, cultivating that people culture, how do you go about it? How do you give that people the assurance that you care for them and about them?
I spend a lot of time amongst my people. You know, management by walking around. Not the MBA, but MBWA.
Yeah.
So I spend a lot of time with them, and it will take time, for sure. If there's a new guy coming in, everyone is looking, who's this guy now?
Yeah.
So, it is a challenge.
Yeah.
But if you walk a straight line, and you can get their trust. Once you have that, and it took me a few months for them to realize, listen, this guy is the guy we can work with. So it definitely takes time. And you have to have a straight line. They must know where they stand with you. You can be firm, because that's part of management.
Yes.
But they must trust you. And I've got them. I've got a very nice team of people.
What do you say to those managers? Some of them might be watching who like just sitting comfortably in their air-conditioned offices and don't believe in MAWA, MAWA, management by walking around.
Yes.
Management by walking around.
Management by walking around. To me, that is the core. In our business, my footsteps should be there in the dust, because that's where people see you. That's where you can assure your quality, and if you want to be successful, you need to do that, and never forget where you come from. Never forget when you made your first paving bricks. You might be a big company now, but never forget where you've come from. Why are you there where you are now? Because of ABC. That was your recipe.
Yeah. Let's talk for a minute about the key products that you offer. Tell us about your product offering and why it is unique or special.
Yeah. Well, just for a start, as I said, I place a lot of emphasis on quality. And just for a start, our products are certified by the Botswana Bureau of Standards, BOP certified, which is a lot of effort to have that. So every batch is tested, every batch is traceable, and so that you assure when your customer pay for something, he know what he's getting. We are focusing on paving. We stay horizontal. We're not going up. So we want to be specialists in the paving business. Then we manufacture, we deliver, and install. So which is a complete picture. So the housewife or even the big complex developer can come to us, and we can provide him with the product and install it for him. Which I think is a great advantage.
Is it an option or it's a requirement?
No, it's option. It's option. Yeah, many of the big companies have their own installers. But what's very important is of your paving project at your house, for instance, is you've got to buy the best, but you must also install it properly. If you don't install it properly, in 2 or 3 years' time, it won't look that nice. So only it stops when it's installed properly.
Yeah.
But we stick to the paving. We have high quality. And we have new developments also coming up. So you have to get new things to keep my retail background. Tell you, always have something new in the pipeline. Yeah.
Okay. And about your pavers, is there any particular design that you are most proud of?
Well, the most common product is the one that we are seeing in the streets of Gaborone on the sideways. That is your interlocking 80mm paver. Something that's also very interesting that you will see all along the new malls and all along the A1 and the streets. It's a new range, and we call it directional paving. It's a red block, and the people, please look out for that, because that was specially designed for the visually impaired people.
Oh.
Wow. So where they can walk with a walking stick and they can feel where to go. And if there's a stop street or anything dangerous, there's a special paver that will warn them to look out for that.
Okay.
And I think that is fantastic. So it is all over the streets of Gaborone now. And the hospitals and government buildings. And we are the sole supplier of that.
As you know, I'm in the building industry myself. And about pavers, I know that there are two types, or someone told me there are two types. There's domestic and industrial.
Yeah.
What is the difference, and do you offer both?
We offer both. Yeah. So you have your industrial type, the interlocking 80 millimeter or 60 millimeter. We offer products. The standard one is a hardness of 30 megapascal.
Yeah.
But we can manufacture up to 40 megapascal for heavy industries. And then we can have the lighter ones for the housewife or around...
Still 80.
No, you can come to 60s. And then we've got another range which is basically a handmade. Looks like emulate rock and so on. So very much handmade products to beautify your house. But that you won't use in industrial environment. So natural earth colors and most of Gaborone house.
Which means the brown?
Well, I've got peach black, which is very popular these days. You want to combine the black. Black, the charcoals, the red, the tan, terracotta. You know, earth is like a type of colors. Combine that with the standard gray. And we've got our designers and our installer would advise people, housewives, how to make your house nice. Because we've got so much experience in that.
Okay, in terms of large projects, have you done any that you are proud of that you want to share with us?
Yeah, we've got very big projects. We've done various complexes all over Botswana. At the moment, the Fields Mall, we got introduced to you.
Beautiful mall. Yeah, that's where we met.
Yeah. And then malls up into Mount, Francistown, Kasane, big malls, 15,000 square meters. So we can serve from the smallest to the biggest.
Okay.
Yeah.
What sort of special machinery do you need to produce these pavers at scale?
On that scale, you've got to have heavy industrial equipment because what we need,
what does that mean?
Process is that you will mix a concrete mix, a very dryish mix.
Is that something as large as this room?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And it's heavy and it's noisy because there's a lot of power there. So you would mix your concrete in a very dry mix. It's not a wet cast, it's a dry cast. And then you put it in this machine with the molds and it puts huge tonnage of pressure that combine the brick under pressure to form that shape. And you have high volume going through that. We call it the dry cast process. And then
dry
the house
cast process.
Yeah. And then the other one is the wet cast process, whereby, you've got molds, you make your traditional concrete, pour it in, wait overnight and demold it tomorrow morning. And then we also do the curbstones next to the roads, also in a high volume, but that's also the wet cast process.
But to somebody who's clueless, machinery, I'm curious to this machinery. Do you get it from China, and how does it look like?
The ones we use has been built in South Africa.
Oh.
Yeah. The special reason for that is it's high maintenance machinery. They work very hard, and you have your preventive maintenance, and then also if there are breakdowns, you need to have your spare parts. The problem with China or even Germany, how do you get the spare parts? It takes some time. Yeah. So I might have a breakdown now, and I might need the spare part tomorrow or the day after. Because every moment, every second, that machine is not brrr, brrr. You're not making bricks and you're not making money.
But there are some people who think that they can get these machines cheaper in China.
What's your advice? Be very careful. I've had to look at that options. They have very nice machines that are very versatile. But the other factors is the supply line of spare parts. And we know what we've got. The South African machine's been working for years all around Africa. So we stick to that at the moment.
Okay. In terms of the manufacturing process, is this from start to finish in Botswana? And do you have the expertise here?
Yeah.
Have you trained enough Botswana?
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about it.
98% of my people are Botswana. So we feel, we need to create jobs. I could have done with these machines, automate it, I can sit in a room and press a button and see things happening and even being stacked and packed all automatically. But we say no. Let's create jobs. Let's use the people from the streets. And
you mean the technology is there to automate everything?
oh yeah.
Artificial intelligence has arrived.
If you are in Germany, they would do that because they don't have the people. But here we have people looking for jobs. So we said, no, listen, we're not automate. Let the people provide them jobs.
All right. So, tell me about the swimming pools. What pavers you supply for swimming pools?
Yeah. Well, as with saving pools, you need to have decorative. So we've got a section of customers who are contractors building swimming pools, and they buy from us because we provide them exactly what they want. All these different natural shapes and colors, and that combined with your existing paving. I'm building a house myself now with a swimming pool, so I'm the customer now. So you need to have your driveway and then around your house, and then your pool has got to be all match up with each other. So the pool edgings, all those little things, we supply them.
Okay. What does it take, in a nutshell, to be a successful entrepreneur? What are the traits? Because you have a successful track record.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I would tell you, there's one thing. It's very hard work. You've got to stay focused. Even in my retail background, remember, I was also a wholesaler, so I had a lot of local guys opening shops. And I've seen so many people, they open the shop and they've got these good intentions, which is very nice. And I was also helping them to do that. But the problem is you've got to reinvest. Don't take the first profits and buy your BMW, put it back in your business. But the core thing with business, you've got to work very hard. It's not an easy job. If it was easy, everyone would have done that.
Yeah.
So, the percentage of business not making it is a huge percentage.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of dedication, and you have to establish your core values. As I say, in my value and my life, and even now with Mega, is quality and service and people. That's my core values.
Now, in terms of guarding against complacency, what would you advise? Some people get to a certain level and they relax.
Yeah, it is so. You have to you've got to see the hard part of life also. And I think I have seen that. I've been through that. Thank God, I went through that to learn your lessons. But it is definitely a challenge to guard against complacency. It is so.
Are there one or two lessons you want to share where you had those setbacks and experienced
Not in the business help, but in my personal life. Remember, I told you I lost my only son. I lost my wife, and that brings you down. It takes something to stand up and face life and keep doing what you're doing. I've been through that, and I'm here. Yeah.
Is there a sense in which you throw yourself more in the business when tragedy has struck, when you become almost totally devoted to the business so that you don't worry about your setback? Is there a sense in which that happens?
Not really. I am focused. One thing you must have, you must look after yourself holistically. You can also just spend hours and hours and neglect yourself. You have to have a balance in life. You have to have your hobby. You have to have your family life, and the perfect balance between that. It is so true. Okay. Myself, I am a pilot, so I do relaxed flying. I fly all over Botswana. And me and my new wife. And because we love the Kalahari so much. I remember I grew up in Botswana. My dad was drilling all over Botswana, so I know every little town, every little village in Botswana. I've been there. So for me to visit them again is really fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you get the license? How did you get the flight?
It's also
how do you go about that?
Well, you have to have money. It's costing you money. Yeah. Okay? But you've got to learn very hard. Yeah. I'm a fixed wing and helicopter pilot.
So even a helicopter?
Yeah, I also fly a helicopter. It's also dedication. A lot of people would start and not fulfilling that.
Yeah.
But I am a driven person. I'm a purpose-driven person. So I
Purpose-driven.
Purpose-driven.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
And what is it about aeroplanes that excites you so much?
A new dimension. Remember, you're driving around with your Land Cruiser and you are here, and then with the aeroplane you are there. It's a new dimension.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then you fly a helicopter. It's a further dimension because you can land there where you want to land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've seen people actually participating in that as a sport. doing all these moves. Do you get to that level?
I've done that. Remember, my family, we, the organizers of the Matsheng Air Show.
Oh, I
out
didn't know.
of Francesa.
Oh, you didn't say.
Yeah.
You didn't tell me.
Yeah.
So you organize it.
We organize it.
Every year? Is this ongoing?
Just before COVID, but
Yeah.
every year. And that air show won the prize of the best air show in Southern Africa, competing with all the others. So it's
Wow.
really something beautiful for Botswana. And it's happening on the De Wet family land at our airstrip there.
Of course, there was that said accident.
Exactly, yeah.
that
So
was
I also
terrible.
participated in air shows. I'm not a highly qualified display pilot, but I've done airplane
What
display.
kind of moves have you done?
Not that fancy. I'm not rolling around, but displaying the new type of aircraft.
Can you do a spin in the air?
I've done that.
Does it not take a lot of bravery?
It takes time. There's no such way you get an airplane and start doing that. It takes time, and you've got to spend hours in the air. You've got to build your brain, your muscle. Your brain muscle must develop around that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually also your bravery muscles you have to develop that because
It
there's
doesn't
this,
matter. I think you have to have some sort of a spirit to do that. It's not for everyone.
Yeah.
That is true. But I've been given that, and I enjoy it.
have you ever experienced a scary experience? Not a near death, but I mean something scary.
Yeah. Remember, when you do your training, you have the proper training is you are taught how to handle bad situations. And I've had an engine failure in the air.
Don't say.
Yeah.
How did you handle it?
No, I landed the aeroplane
Without an engine?
without an engine. But because of good training, I did not panic. I did the right steps, and I landed the plane.
What are the right steps?
The right
I mean,
steps: keep a cool head, look at certain factors, look at the wind, look at the area, look at where you can put it down, and do your contingency planning, and then just keep a cool head.
So an aeroplane can land without an engine.
You can land without an engine.
How does that happen?
You've got
From an aerodynamics point of view.
you have to have forward speed. Remember, if you don't have forward speed, you don't have air under your wings, and you don't fly. If you don't have air under your wings, you're a falling piece of metal. So you can't hang in there; you will just fall. You have to go.
You have to keep moving.
forward, and because you don't have engine power, you've got to give up your height into energy to keep moving. But you can only do it for so long because the ground is coming up. So you've got a certain time to do your planning, convert your height into speed, and land the aeroplane.
But did you land on top of trees? How did it?
That's where your challenge comes in. If the whole area is just trees, you've got to
your
choose the
specific
best spot.
in the
Yeah.
experience you had, did you end up landing on
I did.
trees?
Not on trees, in between trees. Yeah. Listen, if you have this and you've got a forest with big trees, you have some challenges that you can't do, but you still can land on top of the trees and survive.
Okay.
You can.
Does your life start flashing in front of you, like people say?
In my case, it was so short. You had a question of 6 or 7 seconds because I was low flying.
Yes.
There's not much time. But I had very good training and it all kicked in.
I thank God you survived.
I am.
Yeah.
I am. It's
Thank
true,
God you
sir.
survived.
Yeah.
And does the bravery that it takes to fly a plane translate to bravery to be an entrepreneur in business?
Well, to be honest, yeah, you have to have a certain personality. Remember, I studied mechanical engineering. I did my final exam, and I started a new business selling chicken and heads and feet and fish.
Yeah.
Mechanical engineer selling heads and feet and fish. So it is a sort of type of personality, I would imagine.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it does translate.
Yes.
Would you say that apart from the personal tragedies you shared,
Yes.
you've suffered any significant setback in the business, or whether we're talking about Mega Pave
Yeah.
or talking about the original one?
No, I must tell you, listen, you always have your ups and downs in any business, but you manage through that. But I've been very blessed, my life. I was under intense pressures, especially in the Eastern Transvaal Lowveld regarding armed robberies and that. Remember, it was a cash open business. And many things happened there, but I was always safe.
It wasn't during apartheid.
No, it was after that. But,
It was still...
in the 90s, the late 90s, early 2000s, it was not a good area to do business, especially if we were dealing with cash every day.
Yeah.
But I was saved by the grace of God, and I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they never even targeted you once?
Ever?
The robbers never targeted you
Oh,
once?
yeah, no, I had a lot of robberies, but myself personally was never touched. Not with robber blood. But I've had numerous armed robberies. Numerous.
Don't tell me.
Ah.
So how did you deal with those?
Well, you have to be very alert. You've got to be prepared. And these guys, they check you out. Before they rob you, they say, listen, that's not the guy you've got to... Maybe it's better not to take him on.
Yeah.
That is definitely like that.
'Cause
If you're not alert, they will take you on.
Yeah, they do their homework.
They do their homework, yeah. And they've always... they knew, we were very prepared for
What
that.
about these cash on transit situations?
Yeah.
Have you had some of them?
We had a lot of them.
Really?
Yeah. Yes.
How do you deal with those? Is it purely insurance?
You get to some point where the insurance doesn't want to insure you anymore. And I had that.
Oh.
Yeah. And your premiums become so high. And at some stage they said, listen, no, it's better not to insure you. Okay. So to give you some background, I was at these van sales there. Brand new Hiluxes out of the box. I would take the Hilux and it would come into my workshops. I would strip everything that's valuable off that vehicle. The grills, the flicker lights, the seats, everything you can think of. Strip, put in boxes in the storeroom. So there you've got this sort of a frame of Hilux. Then I would inscribe the company name on every moving part on that vehicle. And I would put these cheap flicker lights on that. And then I would spray the whole vehicle, the engine, the chassis, the ugliest green color you can think of. And that stopped them. Because nobody wants that vehicle. Who wants to buy that? They can't do anything with it. All the valuables are removed. So you have to have some initiatives.
Well, I thought the target is cash.
Yeah, cash and vehicles.
Yeah,
cash and
okay.
vehicles, yeah.
So if the attitude is if they can't make it with the cash, at least they have the vehicle.
Yeah, but now the vehicle's got no value. It's got no value.
So what made you think of such a drastic move? It sounds very drastic.
We had serious crime there.
Yeah.
So you have to be tough to manage it there.
Okay,
yeah.
That's very interesting. Yeah. And I'm sure somebody is listening. I mean that's one way. Make yourself unattractive.
Yeah. And everyone in that whole Mompoloki Louveld would know. You would see this green grasshopper coming. They know it's A1 Fisheries vehicle.
Yeah.
It's so identity. It is standing out.
Yeah.
So nobody wants to touch that.
That's a lovely story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, we are about training, mentorship, and apprenticeship in this program, and that's some of the things we do.
Yeah.
In what way are you involved in any of those things?
Yeah. Listen. Just for a start, have been. Thankful, a successful entrepreneur, and I've got positive thoughts and a positive outlook in life. So the people working around me, I tend to carry that over to them. The power of positive thinking. This is the one thing. And then the other personnel, as I told you earlier, I've got to have them believe them in themselves to know if they are putting in there with something getting out of them. Regarding more formal training, we've got mentorships whereby I take on students from University of Botswana and do their real life training in the company.
They come on attachment or you employ them?
No, we employ them. Yeah, but they do their practical there with us. So the last lady, I said she's finishing now mid-year. I told her, the next morning you report here. I want you, you've got a job.
Yeah.
Because she had very good... there was a good possibilities for her. Yeah, beautiful
she
young
showed a lot of promise.
For sure. And we need them. We need those intellectual background from the university to come into the practical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you constantly taking on such people?
You must remember, I'm just there for over a year.
Yeah.
For sure, we are planning to do that because those are the people you want to bring into the business.
And do they have to be engineers or?
Not really. Not really engineers. No.
What's the entry requirement?
Yeah, no, not really. This lady is specializing in transport and the whole management of the goods moving. Yeah, so we would need to have her.
But over the years, Mr. Dwight, are you proud of any mentees or any people you've trained who then graduated and did something
For
with
sure.
their lives.
For
Can
sure.
you share
Sure.
some of those stories?
Yeah.
Without necessarily mentioning names, of
No,
course.
not really. It's all in South Africa. But, I've had a thing whereby I was becoming so busy, I had to get people to help me out. So I thought, okay, maybe it's a good idea to get a secretary. In the beginning, years in the beginning. So at first I had a lady with a small little book and a small pencil and looking at me what to do next. And that was not the person that I wanted. Because I'm so busy, I can't tell her what to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I did was, and that's what's so nice is, I would take out young managers who is in the field and call them into my office for a year or maybe a year and a half and become my executive assistant. So I would bring in people from the practical out there to start, so they get exposure to management, top management, and then would send them back into the branch and I'll take a new one.
Wow.
So I've had such
You
great...
attend all meetings with them and
Everything.
go up when you do,
They
follow
drive
you
around with me. They get the full Monty.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
But those guys got a lot of experience and they put it back there. So I've got 3 or 4 guys that are today top positions in international companies
Wow.
that were there with me.
Oh,
And it's
okay.
a great success story.
Wow.
And the nice part about it is they even come and visit me here. So we've become... I was not their father, but I was somebody for them. And we are still friends on a friendly basis on my phone. And that's a success story.
That's
Yeah.
so
My
wonderful.
daughter was also, she did a BCom degree and she became the CFO. Today, she is the financial chief of a large international company. She did an MBA.
Wow.
And the theme was change management. And that's what we did in A1. She told me, Dad, it was so easy for me because those are the things we did to take the company forward.
Okay.
So it's a
So she
beautiful-
took her academic skills and applied them in the business.
Yeah.
This is wonderful.
Yeah.
Is she still part of the business now?
No, she's with the international company in Cape Town.
Okay.
Remember, I sold the business.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
So she
I
moved
thought
on.
she may want to join Mega Pave.
Oh, she asked me every day.
So why didn't you let her?
Well, I just took the business over a year ago. She said, Dad, I'll come and sort all your problems,
Well, here's your chance to assure her now on this podcast that you're taking her back.
Well, that's a commitment. Yeah, no, listen, she can sort things out.
Yeah.
She's a beautiful. She was trained. She had the practical and the theory. So she can. I know
Yeah.
she can. Yeah.
Okay, that's another challenge for some of the businesses of how to pass what we call generational wealth.
Yes.
How to bring your kids into the business. Do you have any advice about that?
Well, as with any business, I am getting close to 60. I become 65 years old this year. So my life had a few turns, which I explained earlier to you.
Yes.
But the succession planning is also very important. What I've found in a business, you can be the kingpin of your business, but what happens if something happens to you? What happens when you get old? So you have to look into that.
Yes.
What about the next 5 years or 10 years? Who's taking over the reins? And you've got to prepare these people to be there for sure. Yeah. In an A1, I had that. I have done that. I had the structure. But when I started here with a new business, I had to open my own post again. And I've got to,
It's almost like you start from the...
I
from
go
the
back. So
yeah.
I've got to, what I did there, I've got to do it here to create an organization. Because if you're the kingpin and everything is turning around you, the day you want to sell your business, you can't sell yourself. So you've got to create an organization.
And what you say, because some of these kids, millennials and whatnot, sometimes they're not interested in your line of work. They're just saying, we want to do our own thing. We want to do our own thing.
Yeah.
There's a challenge, I think, for parents who are in business to get the children interested at an early stage. Hopefully in their teens, hopefully in their early teens.
For sure, sure. What I did with, I will take my daughter as an example, after school, I didn't send her to university. I said, Madeleine, you want to get something? You come into the business. But not as the boss's daughter. You would come and work, you start at the bottom. So she started work at the bottom. And she did a year or inside, and then she said, she asked me, Dad, I want to go and study. I said, now you can go and study. Now you know.
She spent at least a year in the business.
Exactly. Then she came back. And she didn't come in on the top, she came in the middle part. And she spent a few years there, and she asked me, Dad, I want to do my MBA. I said, now you can do your MBA. So don't bring your kids in there.
At a high place.
No. then they don't know where we're coming from. They must learn where it's all coming from. So bringing them in there and let them work them. Yeah, you can help them.
Make them a secretary, make them a laborer if necessary.
Remember, they must have the respect of the workers. They must work among them. You can learn how to interact with them, how to respect them. They will respect you. So one day when you're up there, you would know how it feels to be there, and they will support you then because you've got their respect.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great advice. That's really wonderful advice.
Yes, sir.
So, in terms of the prospects for expansion, let's talk about Mega Pave. Are you planning any expansion, and what are your expansion plans?
Well, yes, we have already expanded. So we are situated in G West Industrial, but we were running out of space there, the land. So we were looking at to expand, and so it came upon. We crossed a property here in Pakalani, a very nice industrial site with existing business who closed down. It's similar in our. Right.
They were also doing bricks.
Yeah, yeah. So they closed down, and we bought the machinery and also the land. So that would quadruple our potential.
So the transition is on as we speak.
It's on. At the moment, I've been renting those machines. At the moment, they bring already. Yeah. So we are doing this planning this year, how to migrate, how we're going to do it. Are we going to keep the old one and a new one here? So that planning's got to do.
You could possibly have two of them running side by side.
But the MDWA, then my feet must be there and there.
Yeah.
And that's not that easy. It's much better to have your feet where you're working.
Yeah.
So we are looking at the different options. And then regarding the bigger of Botswana, because we're not looking outside Botswana, because our stuff is not that expensive per kilogram. Transport is very expensive. So the western parts of Botswana are showing a lot of expansion, new mines opening there. And with mines there become an industry and that. So we are also looking at other areas in Botswana.
Like Jwaneng and so on. Moving to the Kalahari, or you going north?
In between, northwest, in that area. Yeah, we're looking at that. Yeah.
Okay, you're still...
You see, I've got to compete now. I've got a truckload going from Gaborone to Shakawe. The transport to get it to Shakawe is more than the value of the product itself. The transport is so expensive.
Especially the fuel.
The fuel, yeah.
And of course, if you don't have your own trucks, do you have your own trucks?
Yeah, but even if it's your own truck, I do have. You've got to put in your own tires and your own diesel and your own salaries.
Yeah.
So your transport costs is there. So I'd rather use the source material there and just take your cement to your
I'm going to ask you about that because there's sometimes an issue of depletion of the raw material, difficulty in finding sand.
Yeah.
Is that affecting your business in any way?
Not really, because we don't use sand.
Oh, by the way.
We use a product called the crusher dust.
Oh.
So where there's a quarry, like Khali and Bella Bella, they crush the stones, and we use the sort of offal product of that, the crusher dust.
Because of the difficulty of finding sand?
Yes.
Is that why you've migrated? Or is the crusher dust of a better quality than sand?
Yeah.
Is it?
We don't need sand. Where crusher dust does a beautiful job.
What I'm asking, is that an access issue or a quality issue?
If you really ask me, I would prefer not to use sand. Because to me, I've seen, remember, I'm a pilot. I fly all over, and I see all the quality of the soil where the people take out the sand. It's actually breaking down the environment, the rivers.
Okay.
Yeah. So the quarry, we use a quarry, we use it in the roads, and the byproduct is the crusher dust, which we convert into concrete.
The sand is a natural product.
Yeah.
So the earth has been depleted. You're worried about the environment. What about crusher dust? It's made of what?
No, it's the rock which is crushed.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's in a concentrated form, like the Khali hill, the back of the hill. We have to have the 19 millimeter crusher. I'm using the byproduct, the offal product.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's not things that you put in the felt or what. Put it on. We use it. So we feel we use everything of that
Okay.
quarry.
Okay. Now, you've said you don't want to get outside the country, but I think what do you see if you start looking 10, 15 years, 20 years? Aren't there possibilities of expanding there? If you look at the crystal ball, what do you see going that time frame?
If there would be expansion, it would be north.
Mm-hmm.
Remember
Zambia, Zimbabwe?
Zambia, Zimbabwe, Namibia? Yeah. Not South Africa. They are the big boys there.
The competition is too much.
No, listen, it's the big guys are there. But surely Zambia, Zimbabwe, may be a very good opportunity in the next 10, 15 years.
But if I press you for the actual prediction, what can we expect of Mega Save or Mega Pave in 15 years' time? Exactly what will be there? Will we have a factory somewhere? What?
Yeah, we will.
That's the sort of thing I do.
No,
in this
we
show.
will. We're going to redistribute our production facilities over Botswana because Botswana is a big country. So yeah, we will definitely have production points over Botswana, and then maybe in the Kasane area, if you have it there, you might as well just take it over the river. We've got a beautiful bridge now.
Yeah, it's a beautiful one.
So our plan is definitely. But the big thing is you've got to develop your people, remember? I've got to build a team now. And only have your team, then you can start a new one. They take this and put it there and take the people.
Yeah. Now, the youngsters always want me to ask my guests, and I'm going to ask you this question. The Zaga question.
Yeah.
Is there serious money to be made? Is there real moolah to be made from this business?
You can make money. It takes hard work, dedication. But my advice is to the youngsters, don't look at the mullah first. Okay? Look to get your business up and running. Have a clean business. Have your core values. Invest in your workforce. And then the mullahs would come on its own. Don't focus on the mullah. It can. But get
the
your...
mullah is almost like a byproduct.
It's a byproduct. When you have all these and you mix them and you do it the straight way, it will come. Yeah, it is there. It's definitely a possibility.
Okay. But you strike me as a sort of businessman who's not interested in fancy things like Ferraris and Lamborghinis. But youngsters are.
Yeah.
What advice do you give them?
You know, after 40 years in business and in life, you realize that the real value is much more than the Ferraris and the mullahs and the diamonds and the skiing the slopes of Europe. The value is in the people. The value is in nature. Those are the things that we have here. You know, I know Botswana and the Botswana people. Those are, to me, you know, the attitude of the different societies working together and respect. Botswana, the Kalahari, the Delta. I'd rather go there than see the bright lights. I've been there. I've seen that. You only see it once. I want to see the Kalahari every year. Those are the real values in my life. You know, we go to restaurants. We went out last night with a family of mine to a nice restaurant at the Gaborone Rugby Football Club.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Very nice. And we're sitting there and everyone is enjoying. No hassle. It's just a nice... And that's what I like about our society. A lot of respect.
This is great. So it's not about the material stuff.
You don't take it with you. You leave it behind. Yeah. What will people say of you the day you are not there? How will people remember you? Would they remember the Ferraris? Would they remember your jets or your skiing? No.
Range Rover? No.
They remember you, what you've done for the people around you. How have you interact with people? Do they respect you? Those are the values.
Did you add value to their lives?
Exactly. Exactly so. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you to talk about the business environment in Botswana. The government has in the past been introducing a thing called reset the last 2 years, where they say there should be a shift and a change in thinking. what did you say the business landscape is, especially looking at the mindset, looking at obviously the issue of the reset that, look, some people even say, hey, there's laziness, there's this, all kinds of things. But the government recognizes that we have to change the way we think for us to really grow to the levels that we need to grow. I just want to hear your take as an experienced businessman on that.
I want to start in the 1963 when I was a young boy in Botswana. Then Botswana was still the Botswana Land Protectorate. And Botswana was the poorest country in Africa. Okay? And then diamonds was discovered.
Yes.
And independence. But thank God for the diamonds, because that brought money. Okay? And the country could develop into a beautiful, successful country. That's how I feel about Botswana.
Yes.
You know? We're sitting in Gaborone. It's a beautiful city. You know, where we sit now, the leaders of then said, no, don't develop the center. Leave it. Time will come for that. To me, that's vision. Let's develop when time comes. And here we sit in a brand new building right in the center of the city.
Yeah.
That was wisdom. There's a piece of land right across us now.
Yeah.
A beautiful building come up there. If we would have started from the core and just develop around it, it'll be like Paris or whatever. You know?
Yeah.
We've got there was a good leadership in Botswana. And people, there's money around. Okay? There's money around with diamonds and the copper and this. And tourism, Botswana's beautiful. And I think that the people here sometimes don't really realize what has happened, how Botswana was transformed.
Yeah.
The success story. You know, if you're 20 years
Some
old, you were
people-
born in 2003. There's nothing there. But if you look from 1960 to 2023, what has happened here? Every little small place. You go to Rakops, there's a big hospital, there's a new school, beautiful police. But you have to be there to realize where you are now. Okay, so if you talk about that, yeah, for sure, we've got to get our mindsets right to know, listen, what do we really have? We've got all the good things for our country. And we've got good leadership.
Yes.
Wise leadership. The powers, the minds. Remember in the 1920s and 30s, when they went into Johannesburg and bought up all, the Koos said, no, our country is not ready for you yet.
Yes.
Let them wait until we are there. And when time was due, we opened the basket.
Yes.
You know, and now we are ready to have that. So I'm not that worried. I think the people must just realize, listen, in a course of 55, 60 years, we've come from the poorest country in Africa to the most beautiful and successful country in Africa. And people need to sort of move into the new era, whereby you bring entrepreneurship, responsibility. You know. So I'm not that worried about that.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
That's a very positive outlook.
Yeah.
And you grab the newspapers every day, there's a cry about corruption. Is it something that you think is a serious threat also?
Corruption is always a threat. It doesn't matter if you're in Botswana or in Canada or in America, it's there. We must always be really aware of that, because that breaks down society.
Yes.
But Botswana is not that corrupt. There are much more corrupt countries. But we have to have a look at that. And you know, there was always this corruption hotline number, and I think that's a very good one. Get an independent person with authority, and where you can have your whistle blowing. But corruption is always a concern.
Yeah. Now this is your chance to say, if you have a question for me, to put it to me. We've had a very interesting conversation. You can ask me anything.
So this would be a personal one, because I have just met you. And I haven't known you, but I must tell you, I'm so impressed what you have done. Okay, and I would like to tell me. Okay, what's driving you? Yeah,
I think I want to impact society positively, but not from the braggadocious point of view of, hey, it's me, I've done this. But if I can inspire a few youngsters to think more entrepreneurially, to think about starting their own businesses, and to be tenacious. You know, it's one thing to start a business like you've demonstrated in this conversation, but it's quite another to have staying power. to have staying power, to stick with it, to have perseverance, to have what they call grit. So I think when I looked at the landscape in 2019, we started 2019, 2020, there was no podcast in Botswana which was dedicated towards that. Yes, of course, I was busy with my real estate, my lawyering, and I was making money, and I could have just said, let me stick with my life. But I said, look, let me take a little bit of sacrifice, set aside every Thursday, and we've been doing that religiously, sit with these youngsters and meet with people like you. I mean, I haven't met you until now. I met your staff, and they said, you must interview our boss, you must interview our boss. That shows the kind of you said management by walking around, but the influence. It shows the influence and the effect you've had on these youngsters. So I would also similarly want to have that positive impact on society. So it's really about trying to bring up this country that I love so much, and these people that I love so much, and to be part of that growth, that awareness, and share our success stories. What I found is that not enough of our success stories are being shared.
Going back.
Look what you've just shared. You've just shared beautiful stories this morning. So that is really what is driving me, sir, to be honest.
Oh, well, when I heard about you, I immediately went to have a look at your podcast, and I was so impressed because you're a busy man, but what are you giving back? It's such a beautiful idea that you have.
Thank you very much.
And from my side, I will really congratulate you. I was really impressed about that.
Thank you very much. You've shared so generously, but we've come to the end of our conversation. What I would like to do is to look at that camera and let's just wrap up and share one last inspirational message looking directly at the viewer.
It would not be, I would not complete the whole thing if I must tell you young guys that I am a child of God and I've been blessed by certain things, but He wants you to utilize that. I've had the hope my whole life, up and downs, regarding that. If you want to be an entrepreneur, get all your things in line. Make a point, put your head down and push through and work hard. Know where you're coming from, even the day you might have money. Don't forget what your roots are, and you will be successful. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much. You've shared so generously, but now you must give them your physical addresses, your contacts on social media. You must tell them where they can find your business.
Right, so we are situated in Gaborone West Industrial, and we always say we're just next to Motovac and Premier Clothing. So maybe in 5 years' time, Premier Clothing would say, no, we're just next to Mega Pave. But that's where we are. And we are doing our manufacturing there, and we've got a new setup now in Pakalani. Next you would see it from the A1, and we operate from there, and we deliver all over Botswana, Shakawe, Matengwe, anywhere, Gansi, Boxpits. So we are all ever present.
Okay. Do you want to tell them on social media and emails where they can reach you?
Yes. So my email, it's Koos, Koos, @megapave.com. Our office number is 7566-4267. Sorry, that is my cell phone number, and the office number is 395-2518. We are on Facebook, and we have a website, www.megapave.com.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
There's a paving specialist himself. He shared generously. This is an entrepreneur of note. I'm so privileged and honored that
Thank you very much, sir.
Us,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Remember, now, it doesn't matter if you sell chicken or bricks. The principle stays the same. You're selling goods.
And you know what you're talking about because you've done both.
I've done both. I don't have to be a brick specialist how to mix it. I've got people that know that.
Yeah.
I've got to bring the best out of them.
Yeah. So your job really is to motivate and to inspire.
I'm a motivator.
Yeah.
I'm a people's person.
Yes.
I motivate people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.